Okay, so a warm, yeah, it's warm. Hello, everyone. Greetings to everyone. It's so good to see all of you. And we are from different time zones. So we have South Africa, we have India, but we have different states from India, and we have the Philippines with us. Of course, we're waiting for someone from Brazil. And we're also waiting for someone from another state of India. But yes, more than that, the idea is that all of us are voracious readers, and that's why we're here. We're here to share a book that we have read, or we would like to, others to sort of, we would like to say why we would like to recommend that book. I feel that books are great conversation starters. So uh, one need not necessarily just talk about the weather. One need not necessarily just talk about your name or what do you do. I think if there's a book, one can just pick it up and say, hey, I've read that book. What about you? I really like this. And I think, that's what connects people together. When you bond over a book that you have read, especially, it really connects. So just a little bit about Chilparco International, very briefly. Most of you know it, but because Irvin is new, so Chilparco International, people ask me, what is the why is this name Chilparco? So I tell them, from the child in me to the parent in you, and from the parent in me to the child in you. Life is all about learning. Life is all about understanding one's uniqueness, one's unstoppable, unbeatable qualities. It's all about self-worth. And we connect the world together through 21st century skills. And when I say that, it's communication, it's creativity, it's collaborations, it's connections. And of course, we have a lot of programs going. We believe in spreading smiles. We believe in looking after and enhancing the self-worth of each and every individual and learning from the uniqueness of each and every individual. This is very simply put. This is what Chilparco International believes in. And we have a lot of programs and a lot of groups. So we have the parenting group, we have the dream team group, we have Chilparco International Women Council, we have the Energia International, which is the children's group, the youngsters. We have, what else? We have the Chilparco International Educators Group. We have the Express to De-Stress group, where we generally talk about mental health, holistic wellness, and all that. Besides this, we have a lot of programs going. For example, we have the Wireless Connect, which is going to be done differently. We already have 10 episodes of the Wireless Connect. And this time in the month of July, we're going to do it differently. And again, it's basically, we're going to be talking about deliberating on a topic of global relevance to educators all over the world. So that is the Wireless Connect. We're going to have a program for the Women Council, for the teenagers, which is Talent Rendezvous. We have Club Rejuvenata. We have Lounge the Rhythm, which is creativity, music, dance, drama, theater. And of course, we have the Wit and the Grit show. We have the Kryptonite show, where people talk about their passion and what got them to, actually get into their passion and make their passion their living. So we have that in addition to Lounge the Rhythm. And what else? Am I missing out on something? Yes, Express to De-Stress. Yes, we also have an editorial team, a rocking editorial team. Our e-magazine is called Tenacity, and Dhira looks after it majorly. And it would be nice if we could have more people joining the team, because then we will have more, more a variety of articles. And perhaps, we will be a little quicker, because last time it took us a little longer than usual, but we never fail. We always have our editions out. So this is what we have been doing for the last 1.5 years, not 2 yet, but almost 2 years, 1.5 year, I would say. And I believe we have bonded well, and we've gotten lots of people from the global community together, and from different parts of India together. And I think this is what has ignited smiles. And it's not about, showcasing your erudite wisdom all the time. It's more about knowing what you're really good at, sharing it with others, and the others, learning from your uniqueness. This is what we have focused on at Chilparco International. And today we will be discussing books. And this time, I'm going to ask my sister Mehreen from South Africa. Sister Mehreen, we would like to begin with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the habit of reading? And which book would you like to share with us? And why would you recommend that book to all of us? So it's over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. And so let me first greet everybody in this universal greeting of peace and blessings. And so good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you are listening to me now. And thank you so much, Dr. Alka, for doing this, because I think you know me well enough to know passion is the key word. Reading for me is the ultimate passion. So a little bit about me. Yes, it's Mehreen Mia from South Africa. I have a professorship and doctorate honoris causa in education and humanities, which includes psychology and humanitarianism. And of course, I am proudly part of the Chilparco International Women's Council. And I am also the president for the SA chapter of Successful One Academy. So just, it goes on and on, but the point about me is about education in every sense of the word for every age group. That I'm passionate about that, and especially for women and children. So what got me into reading, I think, and I'm going to blame my mom, and then I'll just blame myself for my child. But I loved reading from a little girl, whether it was the Enid Blyton famous 5 lot, or whether it was the Nancy Drew lot. I think I read every one of them, but it was just that enticing move of a book. And as technology grew up, and I think, as much as I have many degrees, et cetera, attached to my name, still till today, I am not technologically friendly. I'm so sorry to say. So I think that's one thing I need to still tap into. But I still can't fathom how I could pick up a device to read a book. Download the book and read. It doesn't gel well for me. I prefer to get the hard copy and actually read the pages. And if there's one thing I tested with my, with a couple of the youth that I worked with before, I think it was 2 years ago, just before COVID hit, they were having this debate with me about whether the book is worth it. I think there was the movie that had come out, and I knew of the book and they knew of the movie they were going to watch. So I gave them a challenge, and I said, okay, you read the book first and then go to watch the movie and tell me which one is better. And everyone came back and said, you know what, they missed out this from the book, and they missed out that from the book. And this is, the movie is like half of what the book is out. So I said, you see, there's a lot of more depth you get from a book than you would get in that 1.5 hours in that movie. So yeah, so I've always loved reading. And I think reading is actually key to your educational level, not just about education academia. I'm talking about education for you. If you actually pick up between these covers of a book, lies a lot that you can learn for yourself. And most of the books, for example, that I have bought or that I love are educational books, but the books that I refer to and go back to. For some reason, I read a book today and there's a message I get from it, and I go back to the same book and there's something else I find in the same book. So the book that I'm going to talk about today is the same. It's very similar, and it's called Freedom Is. And it's written by Brandon Bays. Everyone knows Brandon Bays, I'm sure, from her book of The Journey. And I think there's courses out on The Journey, et cetera, et cetera. But I love The Journey. If Brandon's listening, I do love it. I love The Journey. But this book, Freedom Is, spoke to me more. And I think because of the time that I read it also, it was a time in my life when I was kind of stuck in this people-pleasing mode, and I was not too keen on me and how I was supposed to get out of the rut that I was in, etc. So it was a personal journey through Freedom Is, though. And if you look on the cover of this book, it actually just says the 4 words: liberating your boundless potential. Just those 4 words, I think, are alone a psychological workshop that we could have. Liberating your boundless potential, because every single one of us out there has that potential within us. And the key about this book is that we have to understand that the boundaries that we create the barriers that we put up are what we put up for ourselves. And that hinders us and our progress. The people pleasing, which I used to always have to be it was so important for me to make sure everyone was always pleased, everyone was always happy with Mehreen. And the moment Mehreen decided to take a step back and decide, well, what is Mehreen going to be happy with? All of a sudden, someone was not happy with that. So Mehreen will put up a barrier about, okay, Mehreen's not entitled to be happy because so-and-so. There was no freedom for me to be me. And now this book teaches just that. And I say, freedom is just about that. It's about you actually releasing whatever are your blocks of your freedom for you. Literally, that's what she does. As much as she talks to you about her story, but in the book, it's about freedom. But it's about freedom in a true, deep sense where it attacks your being, your actual inner being. What is it about you that you are lacking? What it is about you in your life that you don't have, that you're lacking your freedom of? So for example, if anybody's listening to us now and you ask a question to them, ask yourself right now, how do I define freedom for me? I'm not talking about freedom to be able to walk out on your road or walking outside the garden. I'm talking about a freedom of you as a self. Are you free to just be yourself? Or do you have limitations that bind you, that you can't be who you need to be, that you're not happy with who you are, etc. So this book, and it says this is a book about freedom in the truest and deepest sense, freedom of all levels, on all levels of being. So basically she asks, have you ever longed to experience the boundless potential of your own self, to directly, openly feel the natural joy, freedom, and peace in the core of your being? Have you longed to live your life in the embrace of grace as the real you, naturally free from limitations, open to wonder, passion, and the fullness of life? In this remarkable, groundbreaking book, she doesn't just talk about freedom. She gives you a direct living experience of it. So she talks in the book about her life story and her journey and what she did to actually find the freedom of herself. And then she goes on and she actually gives you little workshops in the book. So if you do it properly, you actually get to find how to get through the journey. She teaches you how to break down the emotional blocks that you've put up, literally. And then find that freedom where you lift away, as she says, negative self-concepts. And you release the past limitations and open yourself into a magnificent sense of your own self. So freedom is, for me, a fantastic book about a breakthrough. If you are somebody who is sitting in a stuck mode, find this book, get this book, go through it, do it honestly, because remember the workshop she's giving you in the book are small things, but do it for yourself. And when you do it honestly, remember, it's just you and your book. It's just you writing down your own notes for you. Nobody else is reading it. Nobody else is going to judge it. It's just about you growing yourself through the book to find your freedom, to develop yourself, to find what does freedom mean for you and how to be the best that you can be through being the freer you. So this book was, like I said, it caught me at the best time for me because it made me break through my barriers. And I go back to it sometimes, and if I read it today, I probably find a new message in it again. But this is what these books are about. It's about how you actually get through everything. And this book for me was just amazing because it helped me. It helped me to find my boundless potential to make me become who I am today. So it's one of those books that contributed to my growth. And I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Wow. Does anybody want to ask a question from Sister Mehreen? Dr. Caroline, have you read this book earlier?
No, I'm yet to go.
Okay, so I'm sure you have been inspired to read it.
Curious.
Veera, have you read this book earlier?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you haven't. What about you, Irvin? Have you read this book?
No, ma'am, no.
Wow, since Sister Mehreen, you have inspired all of us because none of us have read this book, not even me. And when you said this word, I mean, I've, some words: liberation, breakthrough, your potential, when you are stuck, because many times in life, and this is not that, it only happens once. I think many times in our life, we get stuck. We get stuck in a rut.
Yes.
And because, we are scared of stepping out of that rut and stepping into some absolutely different territory, we get scared. So we start wallowing in self-pity. And then we become people
Yes.
pleasers, as you very aptly put it. I think this is the book that one needs when one is in that stuck mode, because it happens to the
Yes.
best of us. Let me tell you that. We're all human
Yes.
beings. So there would be times that we would start doubting our own abilities, our own potential, or even if we have them, we won't be able to take them out. I mean, they would somewhere be hidden. Suddenly they would just go amiss. So I think this book, when it says that this book is about breakthroughs, it's about, understanding your potential yourself and reminding you that, you need to become the best version of yourself. Again, very important line. We don't compete with anyone, and we're not even judging anyone, because again, I think we need to, as individuals, and which Chilparco International truly believes in, each and every one of us is unique, unstoppable, and unbeatable in our own way. And we must remember that. And with this quality in us, we must always move ahead. But at times, yes, we get stuck. And Sister Mehreen, this book, I think next time, some of us, just to, we're going to take out a passage from this book that we really enjoyed reading and share it with everyone. I think this is what we will do for the next time. It gives me an idea. Wonderful. Fantastic. I loved it. I loved it. Irvin, would you like to share now? Thank you so much, Sister Mehreen. Thank you so much. Irvin, would you like to share now? Because I know that there's a party going on, so that okay, Irvin seems to be a little away. All right, so in that case, Dheera, I don't want you to be always, last, but this time, all of us are here to hear you. So yes, Dheera incidentally is going to be sharing a book, I haven't read it at all. And, I got a little intrigued. But then I thought, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to hear it from Dheera first. She's going to be talking about, the name of a book is Sapiens, right?
From Homo
Dheera?
sapiens, sapiens.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think, is this a fiction or
no. It's a point of view about Homo sapiens.
All right. So I'm not going to say anything now. Let Dheera do the talking and let her enlighten us about what this book is. See so much we're learning. So one book was what Sister Mehreen said, and now this is book number 2. Yes, Dheera, please.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Great to be here. I've joined this particular club for the first time, and I hope I'll be able to contribute whatever little I have gathered from this book. And it's a pleasure to be talking about a book and to be reading books and to have the privilege to buy a book and to read it from cover to cover. And to introduce myself, Mr. Irvin might not know me. I've been an educator, a teacher all my life. And now I train teachers, I take workshops. I'm still an educator and a learner. Now I've got this very nice synopsis from the net of the book, which aptly says how I feel about the book. So I'll read out these points and some other quotes from the book. The book Sapiens questions the importance which has been given or which has been taken up by Homo sapiens as being supreme beings. They might be supreme in a relative order, but is this justifiable? Is this what is needed? So as we go along, we can pick up the points from the book. And at the end, I would love to answer your questions if you have any. Yeah. Number 1. The big idea in Sapiens is the thing that sets Sapiens apart from other species, and that is that Sapiens are myth makers. We thrive on myths. They use imagination and language to create and communicate new worlds, alternatives, and possibilities. The importance of shared myth is that they allow sapiens to cooperate, organize at scale, and dominate the world. So the first point, which we gather from the book Sapiens, is we are all myth makers. All our concepts are myths. All our concepts are imaginary realities. Whether we like it or not, they are imaginary realities, like your values, like your systems. Let's go along to the next point. So first is Homo sapiens are myth makers. Next is intersubjectivity rules. The source of human insight is not objective fact nor subjective impression. It lies in intersubjective myths, our shared subjectivity. Powerful intersubjective myths include laws, gods, money, morals, patriarchy, and nations that exist neither in the natural world nor only in unshared imaginations, but in intershared intersubjectivity. In other words, we have combined the objective and the subjective and created myths to suit our convenience, to bring order into this world. Why have values? They are very comfortable. Why have values? Because we follow a system, people stay in control. But is that what is actually intended by the creator, by the forces that created the sapiens? Going to the next point, point number 3, brands are powerful intersubjective myths. Puget, that is the example from Yuval Noah's book, is an example of an intersubjective brand. It doesn't exist in the natural world. You could kill all Puget people, the ones who make Puget cars, buildings and products, and Puget would still exist. Instead, Puget exists as a shared myth of fiction in our intersubjective imagination. Point number 4, fictions, not facts, explain. The myths sapiens share define who they are and what they do. Take money, a most powerful shared fiction. Dollar bills are meaningless tokens without the shared fiction that they have value. Endowed with shared meaning, money becomes a unit of exchange, peace of mind, and the measure of our choices. And importantly, it explains behavior. So all the thoughts that we have, all the systems that we have, all the institutions we have created are imaginary realities. They are based on myths and fiction. Point number 5, change the myth, change the world. The intersubjective myths that both bind sapiens together and break them apart is the glue that holds culture together. Break the myth and you break the world, leading to dramatic and rapid social change. Break the myth of monarchy, slavery, patriarchy, and you change the pattern of history. So when we question a system, when we question an institution, when we rebel against a system, we are changing the myth for a new order. Point number 6, biology enables, culture forbids. Just as there is nothing so not natural as chemicals, they exist in the natural world, anything sapiens can do is, by definition, natural. Biology opens doors, and it is culture that closes them by proscribing certain behaviors and labeling them as unnatural. Point 7, the law of the few. History is made by the few whilst the masses toil at work. For example, the second major revolution in sapiens history, the agricultural revolution, around 12,000 years ago, enabled increased food production and massive population growth, but it forced that average farmer into monotonous hard labor. So only a few are working with this kind of hard labor, and the others are taking advantage of their toil and hard work. Number 8, the how of happiness. Human happiness does not really depend on objective conditions of wealth, health, or even community. Rather, it depends on the correlation between objective conditions and subjective expectations. This means yesterday's luxuries are today's necessities. Do we really need that? Is it justified? We say technology is taking us forward, we are progressing, but is this what is intended, what was intended by the natural law? Second last point, humans are superhuman. The third and possibly final revolution in human history is underway now and is the scientific revolution that began 500 years ago. Though scientific discovery and technological innovation, the scientific revolution has empowered sapiens to transform their environment and themselves, giving them superhuman powers and practically limitless energy. That sounds great, but look at the war happening in the world. It's all because of technology. And do we really need this kind of a system? Do we really need to progress in this direction? And I come to my concluding point, the last one. The future is transitioning. The story of sapiens is coming to an end in the next century or so, as the species has outgrown its hominid self. Through science and technology, they have the power and intelligence to become superhumans and create new artificial life and recreate themselves. Sapiens are the new intelligent design that Yuval Noah has written in another book called Homo Deus. So to sum it up in one sentence, I would like to say he questions the existence of sapiens and are we moving in the right direction? Thank you.
Wow, that was profound. But yeah, it was interesting. And interestingly, I don't know, I missed this book. I generally don't read, these type of very factual. I think, I don't know, Dheera, generally, because I've known her for a long time, she likes to read a lot of literature. So this is very unlike you. I think you have shattered the stereotype by reading this book. But
I'm usually
it's
into
good.
a lot of fiction, but
Yeah.
this was something different that I picked up.
Yeah, it is. It is. Basically, it's talking about all of us and where we're going. And we need to actually question ourselves at times. You mentioned technology, and that was where I just sort of, I said, okay, so it's because of technology that, certain things are happening. And it's also because of technology that we're connected like this. So, everything has the good and the bad. And I was just wondering, whether we have the right kind of discretion in us to sift between what we should keep and what we should let go. It becomes difficult at times. But yes, I want to hear Dr. Caroline's viewpoint on what Dheera said. Or if you would like to ask a question, please do.
Thank you so much for sharing, Professor Marin. And
my pleasure.
And Dheera. Yeah, it was really wonderful listening to both of you. And seriously, Ma'am Dheera, there is a book that I would like to refer. Actually, when Dr. Alka asked me last night, I told her I have so many books in my mind. I can't really, I'm not able to. I'm like indecisive, like apologies, like I really don't know what to share. But I think, Ma'am Dheera, I think the book that I was wanting to share was very similar. Like we have a similar plot. It's like an open genre. I don't know if you have heard about this book by Kapil Raj. Kiarek's Trilogy. Have you heard that? Kiarek's Trilogy. Let me write it here.
I haven't come across it.
Just in case you'll be interested in reading.
Oh, surely.
Yeah. This book was actually gifted to me in one of my birthdays in 2014. So it's quite like some time ago that I read this book. And I can't really recollect this thing, but I really love this book, and it's one of my favorites by an Indian author. So Kiarek's Trilogy, and it's by Kapil Raj.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
It's my honor. And
okay.
Yeah, another book of mine is this. If you can see this, it's about India and Nagaland.
Oh,
this book, yeah. So I've been hunting for this book actually, but did not, yeah, I did read this, but it was in 2008 that I read, and I did not get the chance to read it because I was hunting for this book. But if you ever get a chance to get a hand on this, you should read this. So it's the second edition, and it's The Blood and Tears. The volume is. So there is a chapter like that really intrigued me, was on third phase, about the courage. The chapter reads The Courage of a Rajputani Soldier. You know, this actually, this chapter took me, like I really wanted to share this part of the story, because the entire story, like there are so many bravery things, and then I keep listening to people talking about the bravery of the Rajputani, but you know, the actual thing was like when I was able to read this, get my hands on this author, the author actually gifted this to me, so I was quite lucky. They have translated this book into 5 languages around the world. So I think they have made a movie, or they're yet to, I'm not quite sure, but I think it has to be a Polish movie, I guess. So this person, this author, was a very good friend of mine as well. Like I considered him as my best friend also. He was also one of the most wanted people because he spilled the truth, you know. But we have to know the truth also at some point, right? So I think this book speaks a lot, and you know, instead of covering it, you know, at some point we need to know the truth also, even though it's bitter, you know. So I was really proud when I read this, like about this Rajputani soldier. It was during the Second World War. So this was written by one of the people who actually lived in this era. Now he, when they narrated in here, they narrated the story like of a brave soldier of a Rajput. He was against the entire regiment, like they gave up the Naga regiment actually. So you know, during the war, they cannot leave, you know, they cannot camp in one place for a long time. Like, so usually wherever they camp, you know, the village people need to provide them food and necessary supplies. So, but another case was like they cannot live for long in one station. Wise, they would be, you know, ambushed, you know, the entire camp. So, yeah, these people were in hiding, and some agent got the camp, the army camp, informed that the regiments are, you know, camped at some base. So to what it is narrated in here was like 2 trucks of the soldiers were, you know, taken to the station where the Naga regiments are there. And, you know, like it's a long, I'm just going to put it shorter. Like when these Naga regiments, they fight battles with the soldiers, what they do is they take the guns, the stand guns and brand guns away with them, like ammunitions, you know, so that's what they seize from the Indian soldiers. So, you know, they were, you know, as soon as they got from the camp the news, they came forward, and also the Naga regiments got informed that the armies are coming. So what they did was they placed themselves to certain positions, and you know what they do is they have a special you know, way of attacking the enemies. So what they did was they ambush, like, so that none comes out from the truck. So, you know, they and the soldiers are already familiar with it. The Naga regiments, they're already familiar with it. So what they did was they did the same. Fortunately, that one soldier was, I think he was still alive, and the Naga regiments, they were trying to ambush him. Like they tried everything, like in the power, like the techniques, strategies, but it did not work. You know what happened was, like, this Rajputani soldier chanted this, like, he chanted in Hindi, like, "Hum Rajputani hai, hum nahi chhodenge." Actually, when I read
hum nahi
this,
chhodenge.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, you know, like when I read this book, I don't know why, but I dropped a tear or two, and I was actually moved by what it was written in here. So this soldier said that, and he blank fired again. So what happened is, like, the Naga regiments were actually they were they did mock this Rajput guy, and then at the same time they were proud of him, actually, like, because of the pride that he has. You know, even though they were enemies, at the same time they were proud of this man. And you know, no matter how much they tried, they couldn't. And to the point where these Naga regiments ammunitions were exhausted. They just had one bullet, some had 2-3 bullets, you know, it was just hanging. And another team of the army, I guess convoy, was coming again for the attack. So they have no choice. They don't want to leave those ammunitions, guns, brand guns, stand guns, but they had to leave the spot. So, you know, just cutting the story short, you know, everybody admitted that this Rajputani was, you know, he had actually this Rajputani had actually made the Naga regiments, you know, agree that this man is a brave soldier. And at the same time, they could not hold any longer, and they left the site as well. It was a long battle, actually. I'm just cutting the story short. It is a long battle, but putting this story short, this man, they left the site, and this man was awarded a national award. That's what it was written in here. I guess if you ever get a chance to get this book, like, you should definitely read this. There are lots of things to know about. Actually, when the author gave this book to me, he narrated. I was at the farm. You know, his farm was just before mine, and you know, I was just sitting in the car, relaxing, like, just, you know, before crashing to my farm. I don't know what I was doing there, but yes, he was, you know, building his washroom with some laborers. Yeah. So he was working with the other laborers, and there was none, like, no Naga. So I was thinking, like, maybe I should help him. I have never carried stones, but just because he was carrying, I did carry some stones with him, and it was too healing, and I was all shaky. But he did narrate stories when we were doing that, and then, you know, we sat by his porch, and then he made red tea, and we had together. And he did tell me lots of stories about the book, and I'm very glad that he gifted it to me. He passed away just before, a week before my dad died. So it's very sad, but I'm glad that I have this book with me. But he told me one thing, like before he said all those stories: do not be like a Christmas tree that is beautiful outside and you do not know the history of your own
Wow.
people. So yeah, I think it's important to know about why things are happening around you, and it's very important to know your own story. It's not because like with this you're going to be confronting somebody else, but it's always good, I think. What's there if you do not know your own roots, I guess. That's all I have to say. And seriously, thank you so much for being patient. I must have taken too much time.
Oh, no,
But
it's
thank you so
absolutely
much.
okay. That was the idea of having limited people, because one is able to really express oneself properly. When you have many, 2 minutes each does not really work. And we
Yeah.
don't really come to know what the person has and what the person would like to share. So this way, at least we know why you wanted to say this. And that last line which you said, don't be like a Christmas tree, just beautiful from the outside, but inside. So it's again something, it reminds me of what I think it was Bob, no, I'm forgetting the name, maybe Johnson, who said this, that, charms strike the sight, but it's always, always merit that wins the soul. So one needs to continuously work at oneself. And, in all your books and your narratives, I feel that, there is some kind of a shattering of a stereotype. Even in this one, I think when you were reading this and you actually met the author as well, so it got, there's so many things that you learned decisiveness, you learned to take a stand for yourself, you learned to try out something new which people would think that, oh, this is, you it's not just like what Dhira said, that values for the sake of values, but you actually put them into action when you lifted those stones you know
Yeah, absolutely.
so, we don't
Absolutely
talk about
praiseworthy.
values. I mean, we hear the whole world doing it. Everyone is talking. Like I was talking with Sister Mehreen the other day, everybody talks about sustainable development goals, but what are they doing about it? Where is the action? You have given us action. When you said that you lifted the stones yourself after, you saw that person, you went and had tea with him. I think this is what we need. This is being
Absolutely.
humane, and this is what we try to always bring out, at our Chilparco International. And I'm so glad, I'm so happy. In fact, I'm ecstatic today that, each and every one of you shared something which was so unique, and which actually, there's one more thing, a book that you share and a book that you talk about always talks about your personality as well. So somewhere when you're talking and when particular books fascinate you, it talks a lot about you as an individual, your uniqueness, your unstoppable qualities. So I'm so glad that you shared this. Absolutely wonderful. Now I'm going to ask each and every one of you a question each. Um, Sister Mehreen, if you had to recommend a must read book for teenagers, from 13 to 16, which book would you recommend? I mean, a must read, a person who doesn't read at all, but you just tell that person, read this one book and it's going to change your life. Which book would it be and why?
If we're looking at that age group, but before I answer your question, I just want to say something.
Sure,
In
sure.
between the book that you spoke about and between what Dira spoke about and Sister Caroline spoke about, there is such a beautiful link that I am seeing.
Yes, yes.
I spoke about the breaking of the narrative of freedom of the self.
Yes.
And Dira spoke about the myth makers and this concept of luxury versus necessity and how we have to, that's a barrier that's created between the both.
Yes.
And then Sister Caroline spoke about the realities versus the reality of what is portrayed to us as the public versus the reality that a soldier actually faced with what he's enduring. That again is another barrier that is created. And I'm saying that if these are barriers that are there and if we are seeing this, then really it's the link between each of these books, but it's also the link between our foresight, our insight, and our know-how. And that is just so beautiful in a sense. Sorry, I'm just rambling now, but it's just what I really see. I see that there is this link. And, you know, I have to say, Sister Caroline, I felt for you when you said that he has passed on. But I think there's something in the essence of the fact that you actually shared with him that cup of tea on the porch.
Yes.
And I think you should maybe think of doing a write-up at some point about this book and your experience with him as a dedication somehow, because his tale is a true tale. Your trueness and that's what freedom is talks about.
Fantastic. This is a superb idea, Sister Mehreen. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but before I forget, Dr. Caroline, you must write this and you must send it in to us, you know, for our next Tenacity edition.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
so truly befitting, and it so truly deserves to go there. Sister Mehreen, you said it beautifully. This is really, you know, empowering. We're actually empowering people, you know. This is how we're doing it. And this is not just in the air. It actually happened. So this should go. I think this is what we should be talking about now in our magazine. Thank you for this idea, Sister Mehreen. Please go ahead. I'm so sorry. Please.
No, that's fine. So yes, please do write about him and do write about that experience. Regarding the teenagers and the book for them.
Yes.
I love the book for them that is A Winter's Tale. And the other book that I love for them is called Crying Wolf. Now, I'm not going to say which author it is because I'm going to get them mixed up. But those are the two books I know. The Crying Wolf is purely because it teaches of, yes, the battle that is in this forest, and then the wolf that is continuously crying, and about the emotions that are going through it. But it also, at the end of that book, teaches how the wolf is actually not something to be feared.
Mhm.
That crying wolf is actually there because it's his territory, and he's actually fearing you coming to take away from him. So the crying wolf teaches these children, if they look deeper into the book, that I don't have to go in. I must realize when I'm going into something else, it's something that I need to learn to befit me, but I need to adjust to it. And how that person or that environment would, you know, take me in, but that's the crying wolf. And of course, the Winter's Tale is a storyline about going through from here to there and the different seasonals, but the seasonal change of the development also. It's a storyline about how she grows between her travels and the carriages and what she sees through her different towns and where she's going through. But in it, it's also about how the children at that teenage life of theirs, they're actually going through the same. They also, in their own traveling, in their own carriages, going from this tale to this tale to this, and this town to this town, and they'll see themselves in it. So when they're reading it, obviously they're not going to have that kind of insight, but they'll read it to understand it. And at some point when they get to my age, I'm not going to give that away, they'll be able to see the betterment of why they read it. So those are the two that come to mind just offhand.
Fantastic. I hope, you know, later on when they watch this video, I hope, you know, they can be inspired, be encouraged, you know, to read those books. Because, you know, like we always say, reading truly makes a man. And, you know, you travel so much while you're reading different characters, you're reading about different places. I think you are going and traveling along with the characters and the places. So before you actually visit a place, you already know about it. And it seems that, oh, I know this place, you know, I've seen pictures, I've read about it. So, you know, this is what the power of the written word is. The power of books, you know, the power of the images on the books is. So I feel, yes, you know.
Mentioned this in what you spoke about. They are mentioned about the imagination and the creativity and how that is myths. So when we're reading a book, you're actually seeing it from your point of view, and you're seeing this vision that's created in your mind from what the book is teaching you or saying to you. So it's really beautiful. Pick up a book and read, youngsters. Do it. Pick it up. Pick up a book and read.
Fantastic. Really great. Okay, Dhira, let me ask you one question. Thank you so much, Sister Mehreen. Dhira, let me ask you a question. Now, supposing, you know, we know how youngsters are. You know, we've been dealing with the same age group when we were working together also. So tell me, when you found, you know, you had difficulty in actually telling a child to read a book, maybe for the purpose of a book review or for the purpose of a project,
Absolutely.
how would you actually encourage the child? Because I know you had a very different style. So what was your technique? Why I'm asking, so that people get a benefit, out of what you do. It shouldn't be like, okay, read this book and prepare a project and prepare a book review. Kids are not going to do it. Anyway, their reading is very limited. They would only read their textbooks. So if they had to read something and prepare a project, how would you actually motivate them? And how have you been doing it?
Absolutely. Now, there are 2, 3 ways I would look at. First being, if there's a movie based on that book, let them start with the movie. As ma'am also, Sister Marine also said, she was talking about how the book differs from the movie.
Yes.
And definitely, the visual thing is more appealing to the teenagers of our times. So let them see a movie. And then I would say, I want your critical opinion, your most valued opinion, because I have great faith in you. You're a great reader. You're a great person. I'll put that child on a pedestal, because once you put them on a pedestal, it's very hard for them to climb down. And
absolutely.
Like, John, I really value your opinion. I've been going through your writings, your notes, and you have this caliber. Would you like to write a critique? I'll tell you how to write a critique. Would you like
that's the way. And then you teach him how to do a critique and you make him write one. Fantastic.
And I would like, say, this is amazing. I never realized this aspect of the book, though I might have, I might not have. And believe me,
this works.
I just read a quote 2 days back. I was doing some work with some student. It said, everybody is an expert at something. Everybody you meet is an expert at something. So in this thing, I'll be learning so much from what he discovers from that book.
Yes.
And then when you're praising, do it publicly. Usually what happens, praise is behind doors and humiliation
Absolutely.
is public.
Yes, Dheera.
You make it so public.
Unfortunately, Dheera, this praise happens, behind closed doors, even in organizations.
Absolutely.
And I wish that through our video, organizations who are practicing this should do a vice versa. They should practice, praising in public. And if they have to criticize, call the person separately and then tell them, please.
And the second technique is, I would start, I'm looking at these 11th graders, 12th graders, if we are talking about them. I would say a book you always wanted to read. Maybe it was Wolverine, or maybe it was Twilight Zone, and maybe you were not allowed to read it, or you were too young to read it. And for the younger children, maybe you wanted to read Harry Potter. You never got a chance. You were not allowed. You read a book of your choice, any book amongst from this list which you wanted to read. And then would you kindly do me a favor of just going through this book also and just giving me your valued opinion, because I really know you can do it. So just a little pumping up. And
absolutely. Positive rephrases, Dheera, really work.
It's not a fallacy. You're not creating a fallacy. You really believe in that child. And he or she will discover some potential of expressing himself through the book.
Absolutely. Very well said. This really works, Dheera. It truly works. A positive word said by the teacher, in this way, when you're actually telling the child, in fact, you're actually implying subtly that too, that, you're really good in this and I really trust you and I know you can do a better job and I'm going to be learning something from you. This works magic, believe me.
And ma'am, one more idea. I give a book. I know it's a dry book. I know it's a boring book. Turn it into a screenplay, make a serial out of it, make a dialogue out of it for a movie, convert it into a movie, convert it into a script, and we'll enact it. We'll do it for the school. When the child has to make a movie, definitely he'll read the book cover to cover, line to line.
Everyone loves that media.
Your purpose is served. And that child is, and make him, let's shoot a movie, with the resources available. You don't have to get costumes and stuff. You can use sheets and this and that. Let's make a movie, because this generation needs a wow factor, which is missing in our classrooms, in our schools. Wow factor is missing, and we don't give them time to think. We just go from one thing.
We don't. We want instant, everything instant. And
you've
instant
done this question answers test, next homework, next chapter. There is no time for creativity, thinking, and for making mistakes. I would encourage my students to make mistakes.
Yes, Thira, very aptly, truly,
Thank
perfectly
you.
said that, we need to encourage the kids to make mistakes. I mean, they're human.
Yes,
And if
absolutely.
we're human, we have to make mistakes, because when we make mistakes, we learn. And the
It's a
learning
stepping
that we
stone.
get from that is
It's a
lifelong.
stepping stone.
Because we
Absolutely.
will remember, oh, when I did this, this
Absolutely.
happened. And so I shouldn't be repeating myself. That learning is ingrained in the system. Whereas if you expect, oh no, don't do this, because this is what is if you give them too much, they will say, oh my God, so many conditions, so many impositions,
I
I'd
know.
rather
I know.
not do it.
Right. Right.
You're perfectly right, when you say this. So, wow, thanks a lot,
Thank you,
Dhira.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm coming to Dr. Caroline. Dr. Caroline, tell me, how did you get into reading? I mean, was there something happened in your life, or did it just come naturally to you? And how would how did this reading bug come to you? Was it
Um,
natural or was it forced? And
no,
then
it
it
was not a
became
natural.
natural.
It was not a natural. Yeah, I was like intrigued in reading like comics. I used to read a lot of comics and photo romance, if you can remember.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Star
used to read a
magazines.
lot of Archies.
Yeah, Archie's. I think it's a very good book actually to start with. I guess I was very fascinated with romance. So Star magazine. I don't know. You must have been. So I don't know how much I've read, but like there are hundreds of them that I went through. So yeah, I think it started with anything that has to do with colors. So I think I wonder if this generation is barely reading comics because everything is online and it's easier animation. They're more into animations, but it started with comics and yeah, Star magazines, photo romance, uh, magazines of every kind, Femina, Cosmopolitan, and yeah, slowly. I had this friend of mine, like my neighbor as well, like was very fascinated in reading novels of like Mills and Boons, and I used to pass, but I never read that. But and and my friend's mom had the gallery of books, and I was like, how is she interested in readings? Even if I visit her library, what I do is like if I see comics taking the thing that I'll do is I'll just take the comics. I take the comics and then like if there's Star magazine lying there, I'll take them. And like there was some cowboy kind of magazine also. Like I cannot remember exactly, but yes, I did read some of
J.T.
them.
Edson? Was it J.T. Edson? No,
I'm
that
not
was a
sure right
novel.
now.
That was a novel. Okay.
I'm
Even
not
I'm
quite
forgetting.
sure right now, but yeah, it started like that. And then slowly this book, The Passion of Reading the Book was like, as well as I was passing it to one of my best friend. I did have access to reading the book, but her mom always reminded me like, if you want to read, you can read, but not passing to the others. But I used to say like they wanted to read, so maybe would you mind if I pass it to them and they'll return it on time. So she said, okay, fine. And I had access. So I used to be like the poster, like giving the book, passing the book to my friends. And I had a friend, like a best friend, she was like obsessed with reading novels. So I was thinking, like, how could she read that? Like, 30 novels like before examinations, and she's still scoring. So I wanted to pick up that habit. I never had the, passion to read, but it was one of my journey, like to Hyderabad. Um, I think I did not get the tickets for flights. It was booked. I had this. I had to go down to Hyderabad, and I had no choice. So what I did was I bought a book, and in the train, I did not get the ticket as well. So what I did was I had to speak to the TT. Since I was suggested that I can get a ticket from the TT. So I said, okay, fine. And then, there were so many people out there. So I did not, if I lift my head, what I'll be doing is like I'll be staring at them. So I will have no choice. So what I did was I read that book. I don't even remember the name of the book because I've already passed it again. So yeah, I think that was the time when my entire concentration was on the book. And I did not realize I almost finished reading the book. And I think that was the moment that, oh, I think I can also read a book, Yeah, and I'm glad that I was able to do that. I think on the streets of Bangalore, so I took some books. And, I think that's when passion started, like while I was heading to Hyderabad. I think that was the journey of my book, actual novel reading. So yes, that's when I started reading, and I'm still passionate about it. It's just that it's difficult for me to give time. Like most of the time I'm occupied, like or with the physical activity, or like uh, with it has to do with the work. So I don't get much time, but whenever I can, I make sure that I read a book. And this is the recent book that I bought. Like one of my friend wrote this. He's a very renowned journalist from the Asia News International. He's one of the correspondents of Netherlands. So he wrote this book and he invited me. And I did not realize he was the author until I said for the entire session, like for the launch of this book, I realized that it was him who wrote this book. And I said, like, I'm so sorry, I did not realize you were writing this book. But yeah, this is a collection of folk tales, like passed from the grandma, like grandma's folk tales. I
Oh,
think
wow.
it's a beautiful book because, he gave life to the grandma's stories that has been passed from generations to generation. And I think many of us should do this. Like I have these grandma stories with me a lot, but I don't remember. I do remember they were sweet because whenever I visit my village, I sleep with my grandma, and then I asked her to tell me a story. Make sure that she says says a story, like shares a story or two. Then I go to sleep. Like one story is like, okay, it's gone, and then it's finished. Like it's more like fascinating. Can you share another? And I think it's a good thing that if you can put it, give life to it, it's very interesting. Yeah, I think, and I would also suggest like any, folk tales, if there is any, you should encourage a child to read this because this will teach you to be, it actually teaches us a lot, I guess, when it comes
Yes,
to
they
the
do.
folktales. Yeah, they tell us about our roots also, directly or indirectly,
Yes.
our and then our roots, and it teaches us to be wise at the same time, and that's what I would say. It teaches us to
Yeah,
be
I even
wise,
to add it to
humble.
your collection, you talked about a lot of things. We can
Yeah.
even add our fairy tales. Somewhere I feel
Yes,
fairy tales
exactly.
also have
Yeah,
a quality that, gets a person,
true.
ignited rather to read a book because it's so
Yes,
fun. And
yes.
you actually
Yeah.
made me go walk down nostalgia lane because I remember I used to tell my granny that I want to
Mhm.
listen to a story. And I remember she narrating the tale of Jack and the Beanstalk. And I would listen to this for at least, I don't know how many months. I told her, no, I want to listen to Jack and the Beanstalk because she had a very fantastic way of narrating it. But then, those histrionics, those expressions, I think
Exactly.
you just imbibe them. And then it
Mhm.
just went on to your reading books. And I'm so
Yes.
thankful to her for doing that. Reading out loud to children, I think really works. Narrating stories to children really works. And
Yes,
I
a
want to
lot.
ask one more question before we say bye to all of you.
Mhm.
Um, Sister Mehreen, can you tell me a book that you found fascinating, and which was also made into a movie, and you found that fascinating as well. Or maybe you found the book more fascinating and the movie not so fascinating. It could be any ways. But I'm sure there's a book and a movie which you have in mind.
I have, I'm trying to remember exactly the name. I think it was by Daniel, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was called Promise. It's a romantic novel, but Daniel still writes The Promise. And I think
Yeah,
for me,
yes.
and I wanted to, I think I've read all of her books.
Oh, you have? No, I've read the
so
book.
I'm-
You're right. Yes. So you enjoyed
my
both?
go-to.
Did you
So
enjoy the book as well as the movie?
I loved the book more. I
Hmm.
think the essence of the book is why I went to watch the movie. But I felt like the movie was empty. Like the crux of the book is missing in the movie, you know. But it was a good movie. It was there. I think maybe because I read the book, I knew what the ending was going to be, so the movie was not as enticing. You know what I mean? But so yeah. But for me, that book was more. I just feel that some books somehow just give you that notion that I can create my own creativity, my own images in.
Yeah. See, this is it.
This is what happens. So yeah, but the movie was okay. It was good, possible. Okay, I will give them all the red carpet and give each one of them the trophy. But the book just carries it. So yeah, that was it.
What about you? Thank you so much, Sister Marine. What about you, Dhira?
Schindler's List. The book was as good as the movie. The movie was as good as the book. I cried through the book. I cried through the movie.
Yeah.
And this one and this famous one.
Godfather?
No. Gone with the Wind. The book
Gone with.
matched.
Oh, wow.
The book
You
matched
said
the
you
movie.
took away my favorite one. Yeah. The book as well as the movie. Both,
They shake
you
you
cannot
apart.
compare.
They just you can't say it's not up to the mark.
Yeah,
The
you
essence
cannot.
is it's
I
each
totally
time I
agree with
watch
you.
it or read the book, it's a new experience.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. What acting, what acting.
Brilliance.
Amazing.
One still remembers it till date. And
Absolutely.
the best part is my daughter loves it too.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
I thought to myself that even she loves it. She says, Mama, Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara. And I told myself, wow, I didn't even impose it on her. She's saying it herself. So this is the power of books, I mean, you just expose them to the children and let them be. And just see the kind of thoughts that come out, This is amazing. Wonderful. What about you? Thank you, Dhira. What about you, Dr. Caroline?
Well, unfortunately, I was unable to read the same book as the movies. But I was always told that the book version is much better, like what Professor Meheran said. I really don't know, there are so many genres that I like, and
Yeah.
then it's
I
difficult
know.
to figure it
There's
out.
so many. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any suggestion, but there was a movie like The Woman in Berlin. If you get a chance to watch that, I think you should watch it. Woman in Berlin. It's very good. I wonder if you have watched that movie.
Which movie? I didn't get the name of the movie.
Women in Berlin. Wait, I'll just write it down so that.
Okay.
Just
Good
see
movie.
the chat.
Women in Berlin.
I think there's some voice problem. I couldn't really understand each and everything that you said. Okay, women in Berlin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very good movie.
Fantastic.
It's kind of like bitter, but it leaves you a sweet sweet feeling after watching the movie. So and it brings a long time, I guess. So that's what
I know.
movie actually
And
resonates.
incidentally, while you were talking, this book came to my mind, which the book I read as well as the movie, Thornbirds,
Oh,
by
yes.
Colin. Yeah, oh, beautiful. Both
Beautiful.
the book as well as the movie. I don't know, it was kind of, and we were growing up in those days, so, it was a romance as well. And plus, again, it was like shattering a stereotype. So you just liked it and you wanted to see it. And another one that comes to my mind is Coma. So I read the book, I saw the movie, and I loved both. So each and everything that happens in the book was there in the movie as well. So I guess, these are some ever famous, I don't know, one can just see them and read them. And as Sister Mehreen so beautifully said, that, sometimes when you read the same book again, there is something new that you learn out of it. It's not the same. So I've read a book when I was, let's say, 14. I read it again at 21. I read it again after some years. And every time I read that at different ages, different stages of my life, I learned something new. That is the beauty. It's just like movies, it's just like movies. When you see a movie, when you're younger, you perhaps don't even understand the essence. But as you grow up, you understand, and, and you see it again. So I think at times we need to revisit some books and revisit some movies as well. And now the last one, and let's leave it at music therapy. A song from a movie or a book, that was made into a movie that is there in your mind, on your mind. For example, for me, it's Pretty Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I think there's quite a few songs though that come from the movie The Bodyguard. Not what's the song, but I know Whitney Houston sang it, and it's all so she's okay. I don't know the lyrics now, but it's from that movie. I know that, The Bodyguard. I'll get it.
Okay. And the sound of music,
yes,
do re, do
Do
dear.
re mi.
I always love it, and especially that song where these are a few of my favorite things. I just love it because you can get so creative with that song. I mean, you can rattle off all your favorites when you say these are a few of my favorite things, and you can just go on and on. Again, this is the power of the word. This is the power of music. This is the power of theater. It's all rolled into one. And I wish our educators, our youngsters, people who feel that life can be miserable, they should just get back to books. So much to learn. Dheera wants to say something. Yes,
Yes,
Dheera.
ma'am. Before we wind up, three things. First of all, Sister Marine, we'd like to see an article or a set of articles
I knew this
by
was
you.
coming.
Freedom is, what is freedom for you? How it changed you? No, it's very
Perfect.
inspiring.
Perfect.
It's very inspiring. Second thing, a beautiful book called Notes to Myself by Hugh Prather. Whenever you're feeling low, open any page. There's a beautiful
There's a
message.
beautiful
and it
message there.
Definitely, it brings
Absolutely.
you out of your
Notes to
sadness.
Myself is a wonderful book.
Wonderful.
You reminded me. And another wonderful book like that is The Secret. You open any page and there'll be a message, and that message you will feel is from the heavens above. Honestly, try it out.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say, an amazing book by Agatha Christie, it's a marvel, is Murder of Roger Ekroyd. It's written in first person, and that person is the murderer. That's beautifully
It
written.
is wonderful.
Wow.
It's so gripping.
It's
You don't
very
want to leave that.
difficult. You write it in first person and you are the murderer. I think it's a brilliant
It's
piece of
amazing.
literature.
It's amazing. Thank you for reminding me, Dheera. I'm going to read that book again because I loved it the first time.
I was
had never
amazed.
revisited that book.
I
I'm going
was
to revisit it. So this is the point of our, Book Wizards Club. And we bring in so much happiness, and see, all of you have shared your uniqueness in the process. And this was the purpose. And we're all smiling and none of us are bored. And this was the purpose again. So keep smiling, everyone. Lots of love to all of you. And yes, please, for the next one, let's try to, when we begin, we're going to be beginning with the 3 books that were shared, some passage from that book that fascinated us. And then we will talk about the book that we read in the month of July. So remember that. A little homework for all of us, including me. So we're going to be sharing that next time when we're doing this, and it'll be towards the end of the month so that, it gives us enough time to go through. And plus, we are reminded to read a book ourselves. So I think Dr. Sanjeev Kapoor has joined. Let me see, can we all take 5-10 minutes more?
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Okay. We were just winding up. He's missed all the fun. Hello, Dr. Kapoor. We were saying bye-bye. You just joined in when we were saying bye, but it's so good to see you.
Yeah, I just came back, so I thought I must say if all of them are here, then I must say hi
Yes,
to
we were just leaving and some of us have left, but yes, great that you joined. Let's hear about your book. And please do tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Kapoor. Can you come on video mode?
No, because I just came back, so I am just opening the door. So I
Okay. That's absolutely
because
fine.
I can tell you today's experience because I've just come back from a T10 India's first T10 India Dominator Cup. So the final has been played in Chandigarh. So me and my son just drove back home.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a wonderful experience. So my apologies that we entered late because of the traffic jam at the
Never
highway.
mind.
At the highway, we traveled
That's
about.
understandable. Traffic jam is all over the world,
That's
Dr.
right.
Kapoor.
That's it. So
I
I
saw
think
it
that
in London as well.
yeah, I know. So that was a wonderful experience. So tomorrow again there is a big expo, and the we are starting the 19th run against drug abuse in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium for 3 days.
Okay.
26th will be a great show. It is organized by the great Olympian gold medalist Dr. Sunita Godara, who
Okay.
won the Asian gold medal in full marathon in 1992.
Wow.
So that's how we are busy in doing few things for the
Wonderful.
country.
No, this is
the
wonderful.
social
Drug
cause.
abuse, a campaign against that. That's wonderful. I think this is
That's
something which the youth of today, and not only the youth, I think this is something that some people are addicted, and they don't just do it. They don't do it because they want to do it. It's just, compulsive. It's
It's a yes,
compulsive.
yes. It's a commercial. Yes.
Yes.
And it is not the first season. It is the 19th season that Dr. Godara is doing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, it is from long time she's doing this. So we are the chosen digital media partner for that. So
Wow.
that's
Great,
right.
Dr. Kapoor. Wonderful.
So,
Absolutely
so
amazing. Maybe
I
next time
think
you can tell us about the
yeah, I
experience.
will do that. So thank
Yes.
you very much, and wish all of you great evening. And my
Thank
apologies
you to
again.
you
I was
too.
not able to join. Thank
Please
you very
do
much.
take care, and thank you for
Thank you.
joining in despite the long travel and
That's right.
sharing this bit of information with us. Thank you so
That's right.
much.
Thank you very
And
much. Thank you.
really wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr.
Okay.
Kapoor.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you, ladies. And I think on this powerful note, let's say bye-bye, and let's remember to read the books that were shared and share next time 2-3 lines of an excerpt that truly fascinated us. Let's share it with others. That's the idea of learning and enriching ourselves. So with that, on that wonderful note, and do remember to send in your articles, please, Dr. Caroline and Dr. Mehereen, please do that. What else? Dheera, am I missing out on something? We're having the Wireless Connect this time in a debate form. So we'll be sharing the topic, and we would want powerful personalities like you, who all are our champions of Chilparco International, to join in, because we will be talking about a powerful topic and debating over it. So that's how our Wireless Connect is going to be. And maybe towards the end of the first week of July. I'll be sharing details in 2 days so that all of you could start, working at it. And in the meantime, do send your articles. We'll be waiting for them. And yes, stay blessed, keep loving, spreading love, spreading happiness, spreading smiles, and just be like this always. It's wonderful. It adds so much charm to your faces, and this is real beauty. Believe me, this is real beauty.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am. Thank you for a wonderful session. Thank you, Dr. Caroline. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you to
Marine.
each and every one of you.
Loved every bit of it and learned so
My
much.
honor. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
please
you
say
all
your
so
parting
much.
shots,
This is
everyone. I've said enough. Sister Marine, please add your bit, and Dr. Caroline, Dheera, just add your bit, and then we'll just say bye.
Sure. No, let me just say thank you so much, Dr. Alka. Thank you so much to the Dheera and Ms. Caroline as well. It was really an awesome session, because I think we uplifted each other as much as I hope we've uplifted people that are going to be watching this as well. So yes, thank you so much. This is an amazing platform. And like I said, passion, read. So I will challenge everyone who's watching us right now, put in the comment book you have read. If you say yes, the challenge. And yes, thank you so much, Dheera. I will definitely send you my article soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Dr. Caroline, a parting shot from you.
This was a wonderful gathering. I really enjoyed, and there's a connection in everything that we shared today, and I think this is how we should be able to encourage to have more readers, because it's very important as well. It's not everything that is written could be put in, can be given life. So it's kind of difficult because it's a thought. The reason why it is also known as a thought. So as whoever watches our session today is motivated to read, and it's a beautiful experience and amazing experience. A book can be also your escape, a room for your escape to go to another dimension. So and I thank Dr. Alka for sharing this wonderful session with me and having me here. It's a wonderful thing, as always. And thank you, ma'am, Dheera, and Professor Marin for being patient, and Dr. Alka for being patient and listening to me. I think I was the one who took much time today.
No, we enjoyed every bit
No,
of
it was wonderful. We need to express ourselves, honestly. We need to express ourselves. And that's how we connect and bond, that's how we connect and bond. So wonderful. So with that,
Thank you so much.
bye-bye, everyone. Take good care of yourself. And we're going to be meeting pretty soon in July, end of the first week of July with our wireless connect. So lots of love once again. Take good care. Bye.
Look after yourselves.
Bye. Take care.
Everyone,
happy.
please look after yourselves.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.